guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing more fruit with alcohol markers, and this time it's a bunch of bananas. So I started off with a little sketch in my tiny little sketchbook that I took to work with me, and because I wanted to draw it bigger onto Bristol board, I scanned it and then I traced it using my light thing. What is this called? Light board thing? This is from Daiso. It was only 500 yen. And as you can see, I keep turning it off with my hand, but that is a minor inconvenience, and we got through it. So I went and erased the pencil lines to make them as light as I could. This is my reference picture. I'm just having my iPad beside me, and I'm starting by outlining with colored pencil, like going over my sketch lines with the colored pencil so that I can still kind of see where my edges are while I'm coloring with the markers. It's not as dark as it's going to be at the end, so it's not like this is supposed to be line art or anything. It's just my edges, I guess. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. It's not supposed to be any darker than what I plan to put on top with the markers. Then I went in with, I started with the pearl white just for this upper bit, and the rest was mostly yellows and browns. You actually can't see it, but I did swatch everything out and choose everything really carefully. I thought it was in frame, but it wasn't. You can kind of see a couple right at the top there, but everything was mostly cut off, so sorry about that. I promise I wanted to show you. But yeah, I went in with my lightest yellow, and then this is my second lightest yellow. And what I really wanted to bring out was like the sort of ridges of the bananas, so that they're kind of like, what's the word? They're not exactly boxy. They're more like sort of a star shape, and I wanted to make sure you could see that. And for this, I guess I'll call it like the light slash mid-tone yellow. I chose so many yellows for this one. Didn't even use everything. But for this one, I made sure that I went over more than I tend to, because I know those lightest spots were not as big as they were initially, and I was like, okay, don't be afraid to cover some things, because that's what I'm often afraid of with alcohol markers, is going too dark too quickly. But then I went in with this slightly desaturated, it's not a desaturated yellow, but it's not as vibrant as the one I'm going to use on top of it, and it makes it for not good contrast. Like, it makes the vibrant one look a lot more vibrant once I put it on top, so that's what I ended up really liking about it. And of course, each time I transitioned to a new color, I took another color, like a lighter one, and blended it out so that there were no harsh lines. Now at this point, I'm going to go in with the most vibrant yellow, which is from my sort of triangular Ohuhu set, which is normally too vibrant for my taste, but I thought for this banana, I was like, alright, well, this is your time to shine. So I went and put that on top, and I think it stands out really well, and I think when I printed it out as well, it looked even better. Here I'm bringing out some more ridges, just going like one shade at a time darker. And I know each of these colors are going to dry a little lighter than how they lay down. So keeping that in mind, I sort of give it time to dry for a bit before I move on to the next color. And I did want to make sure those occlusions were pretty dark by the end of it. Actually, that middle part where I left a gap in the reference picture, there's no gap. I don't know why I decided to leave a gap. I'm really not sure. So later on, when I edited this artwork to make it into a sticker, I actually put I just put a darker brown in the middle there and blended it in so that it doesn't look like there's a weird gap, because there shouldn't be a weird gap there, I think, and it looks much better without it, but you'll see that at the end. So yeah, I just started going in with some darker browns, bringing in more contrast. Again, I know these are going to dry later, so I just keep going back in with either the same color again or a darker color over it each time it starts to lighten, so that I don't actually lose that contrast. And I do know that some of my darkest occlusions, I'm going to bring some of them in with the dark marker, but also with the colored pencil, with my, I think that color's the sepia color. So things will look kind of washed out for a bit, or like they're blending together too much, like where the right side of one banana meets the banana next to it. But it's gonna come together in the end. It was a bit scary going in with some of the darker browns. Like even this felt really dark at this point, but I had to keep, looking at the reference and remembering that it needs to be that dark. It's just, there's such a, from the very, very light yellow to like the browny blacks of the banana, there's such a wide range of values, and I really didn't want to let my fear stop me from going as dark or as light as I needed to. The lights I wasn't worried about because I could always go back with white if I needed to, and I used a little bit of white at the end. But yeah, it looks crazy until it starts coming together. And I think these spots, chef's kiss, I think I mentioned this on the apple before, both of my apples probably. The spots, that's what do it for me. They're so, like, it makes everything look real. It's sort of like how a lot of digital artists like to add noise to their finished work. This isn't quite as intense as noise, but like it makes it look like it's not just a smooth surface. It makes it look like a real fruit. And I liked going in with the different shades. I chose like 3 or 4 different shades of brown, and then I went in with that, what is that, the Y030, and sort of blending out sometimes the whole thing, sometimes the edges, depending on what I was seeing in the reference picture. Some things were sort of like circular splotches like targets, and some of them were like full really dark spots. Some were just barely noticeable, and I put them in anyway because they added a lot of interest. They made it look more interesting to the eye, and also kind of softer on the eye, like more real, because we never really see just like solid things, because our eyes are always moving. Even if we're staring at something that's not moving, our eyes are always moving. So I feel like adding these little bits of texture add sort of motion or softness that makes something look more real. Even though I wasn't going for hyperrealism or anything, it's why I don't really like doing like solid line art anymore, or like drawing cars and stuff, because I like to make things look, I don't know, soft. But yeah, that was very, very satisfying. And at this point, I did start with the colored pencil. You'll see me kind of go back and forth between colored pencil, some more marker. I was choosing like, okay, this brown might go here, but now this is really, really dark, especially, I'm going to keep saying it, those occlusions, very important because they add the most contrast, I think. Well, not I think, they do add the most contrast. So I went in with sepia in the very darkest spots, which was very satisfying because the marker, as I've mentioned in previous videos, it bleeds a bit, so that's why I do choose to go over the edges with, again, it's not line art, it's not a darker color, but it's just to make it a little more solid so that it doesn't look like it's just bled all over the paper. And I did clean it up, of course, digitally. Those edges look a lot nicer. So I wasn't too worried about it at the time, because I knew I could fix it later. But yeah, now I'm just going in with those whites, a little bit of jelly roll, just a little bit though. I didn't feel like I needed as much as I usually put. And here she is. This is a close-up, and I think she turned into the cutest little sticker. I made this one with my Cricut Joy. You can see a tutorial for how I do that without print and cut in somewhere on my channel. I did it ages ago. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. That's it for today. I'll see you next time. Bye!